wanted to switch gears and talk about um, back in May, Open Metadata released the Open Metadata MCP server. And since then, people have been able to utilize it with AI agents, one of which being Goose. So I wanted to have Rizel come in here and talk about exactly that. So please start sharing your screen and you can feel free to take it away from here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. Um, I won't be able to see you guys, but my talk is a little bit interactive. So feel, or actually I can't see you guys in the Zoom chat. So feel free to like type your thoughts in the Zoom chat or do reactions or whatever. But I am going to take this from like a little bit more of like an AI agent vibe coding perspective, and then I'll dive in a little bit to the Open Data MCP server and what we have, which is like a open data, sorry, open metadata recipe. So the title of this talk is like how to vibe code responsibly with a little help from MCPs. So we're gonna play a little game of never have I ever. Here's how it works. You'll put up 5 fingers. Of course, I can't see you, so we'll just trust that you did. And if I say a phrase that you have done before, put down one of your fingers. So never have I ever asked AI for answers instead of Google. I have done that before. And then never have I ever merged AI generated code that I didn't understand. Embarrassingly, I have done that a few times. And I shouldn't have probably. But thank you for playing the game. I found some of my vibe coders. I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Rizel Scarlett. I go by Black Girl Bytes on the web. I'm the tech lead of open source developer relations at Block. Block is the company that's responsible for Cash App and Square and Tidal and Afterpay. We also built one of the first MCP clients, which is an open source AI agent called Goose, and I'm one of the developer advocates for it. I will address the elephant in the room. Vibe coding is so like February 2025. We're literally in November right now, and the tech industry moves so fast that the idea of it feels a little outdated. But I do still see people doing it when I review PRs. They look very, very vibe coded to me. Um, but if you don't know what vibe coding is, it's the practice of letting your AI agent generate all the code and you just merge to main. You don't even look at the code, or as Andres Kaparthi puts it, you forget the code even exists at all. And many developers do feel averse to this concept, and I get it. Vibe coding is in some ways revolutionary because it enables people who don't know how to program to build products that they previously could only envision, and it's enabled engineers to work faster than ever before. But it's also dangerously irresponsible, or at least it can be, right? It encourages both non-engineers and engineers to add in secure code, making enterprise code bases really ripe for attacks. It discourages people from understanding the code that's been generated for them, which can then lead to scalability issues, persistent bugs, or even losing all your code. Like I saw a lot of tweets like this back in the day where they're like, well, back in the day, a few months ago, where they're like, I lost all my code. I don't know what's going on. And like this guy says, like, his code got corrupted. He's not an engineer. And when you scroll through the thread, it's really not that the code was corrupted. He just did a prompt and Claude code just deleted everything. And this is why engineers are redefining and reclaiming the phrase. Simon Willison coined the term vibe engineering, where engineers work with LLMs while staying proudly and confidently accountable for the software they produce. There's another one, this is my favorite phrase, called chiseling by Patrick Erickson. He works at a company called Continue, and what he says is working code isn't finished code, and you need to chisel away the AI generated excess to reveal the clean, logical core beneath. So, whatever you want to call it, whether it's vibe engineering, chiseling, or as I'll call it for the rest of this talk, responsible vibe coding, the core principles are the same. To be able to do this responsibly, vibe code responsibly, you need power, context, and control, in my opinion, right? Remember, you are the captain when you're working with an AI agent, and your AI is the co-pilot. So I really think companies like GitHub, I worked there when GitHub Copilot came out. They were ahead of the game when they named their tool Copilot because it set the tone that you don't need to be a passenger in this whole journey, you are responsible for the entire journey and the direction that your AI agent takes. So, if you're the captain and your AI is the co pilot, you still need a co pilot that's powerful and competent that can actually fly the plane. So, and in this case, I usually think of a LLMs for the AI agent as the brains of the operation, and each of them tends to have different capabilities and strengths. So when you choose an LLM, don't just choose the one that everyone's like hyping up online just because they're like, oh my gosh, Kimmy K2 or whatever, right? Instead, think about like the tool calling capabilities. Will this LLM basically enable your AI agent to act on your behalf, or is it just going to act like a glorified chatbot, right? You want it to be able to actually take actions on your behalf. Also, in terms of like context window size, this is how much your agent or the LLM can remember in a specific session. Think of it as like your AI's working memory. So you want to make sure it's pretty big so that like when you get deep into the weeds of things, it's not forgetting mid conversation what you were working on. And then you want to think about like the performance on code tasks. Some models are better at reasoning through complex code problems than others. I tend to lean towards like Claude Sonnet 4.5 or Claude 4 or GPT 5. Those tend to perform better on code task for me. Goose also has this thing called like the lead worker model feature, which I think is pretty cool, where you can set specific models, one to do like the planning and one to do the working or the execution, depending on their strengths. It also helps people save a little bit of coin with their LLMs. The other thing I want to talk about is context. Like, even if you have the most powerful like LLM, your AI agent is still useless without the right information. And here's an illustration of why context matters. You guys could feel free to put it in the chat. I also see there's 3 things in the chat here. Okay, those are different, maybe different things on astronomer, but here's why context really matters, right? Has your mom, when you were little, ever said, like, go get my black purse? And you're like, okay, mom, I got you. And you go into her room and you're like, oh my gosh, she has 47 other black purses. What am I supposed to do? You don't know which one to choose. But for me, I would always be too nervous to like go back and tell her, like, oh, I don't know which one, because I feel like she's gonna be like, don't make me come over there and find it. So I will just grab a purse and bring it to her, and it will obviously be the wrong one. But the problem is my mom wasn't really explicit. She could have said, like, go get my black Coach bag that's on the second shelf on the left. And that's how AI tends to hallucinate. You didn't give it enough information, so it tries to find the best answer without asking for clarification. Other ways to manage context effectively are like using specific context files for additional guidance. So you can, instead of just putting everything in your prompt and repeating yourself over and over, you can put like valuable information in there, like maybe that you want to use TypeScript and not Python, and et cetera, et cetera. So AI agents universally respect agents.md. Goose respects Goose hints, and then you could see the other like AI agents respect like cursor respects cursor rules, etc., etc. In my Goose hints file, I always like add like specific instructions, like make a commit after every change. This allows me to have like a granular version history, because sometimes AI agents just make like a whole bunch of changes and I want to tell it to go back, but it doesn't have a specific snapshot in history. And I don't want to be like hunting through multiple files trying to figure out what it actually changed. Now let's get to model context protocol. And this is where open metadata, I keep saying open data, open metadata's MCP server comes in. So if you're not familiar with MCP or model context protocol, this is an open standard that enables supporting AI agents to connect to and grab any tool using natural language prompts. So if you like, there's a Blender MCP server. If you wanted to create a 3D scene, instead of even learning Blender's interface, you could literally say, like, create a 3D scene of a campfire, and it can do it for you. Similarly, I'm going to do that with the Open Metadata MCP server. I'm not too familiar with it. I'm not really deep into the like Kubernetes or data or any type of data management world. I'm more like front end and AI agents. So this has helped me to be able to just speak in natural language. So Some of the features it has is like data discovery. It allows you to find tables and dashboards, etc. Also governance. It allows you to apply tags and tiers and ownerships to data assets. Impact analysis. It allows you to really understand what's affected a table. And then there's root cause analysis and bulk operations and compliance and more. That's there as well. So I'm gonna do like a quick demo of that. But the other thing I really want to show you is something called recipes. So I'll just explain both of those before I like switch over to Goose. Recipes, I believe, are unique to Goose, right? They allow you to basically package up AI workflow that you really like. So if I ran like some kind of like I had a conversation with Goose and I was like, yo, this was really good. And I wanted to redo it again. Sometimes when you're using an AI agent or any AI tool, the output is non-deterministic, so you're not able to recreate it again. Or maybe you want to tell like a teammate, like, oh, you can just run this prompt and it'll work. There's different reasons why it may not work. Maybe the context is different. You don't have the right MCP servers enabled, et cetera, et cetera. So recipes allow you to like package up the prompt, package up your extensions, and all the context needed, the system prompt, etc., so that you can have that same experience again. So I'm going to go to Goose. Oh, where's Goose? Okay, here, it's on this thing. And we're just gonna run at first a really simple prompt. As we see here, I already have it, and I didn't close the window so you guys didn't get a chance to see like that you like I actually have this running, but let's see. I'm just gonna wait for the Open Metadata MCP server to connect, and this is like our we call it extensions in the Goose world because it really extends the capability of Goose, and it's taking a little bit, but I think it just has a lot of like data packed into it. But while it's happening, I'm going to just ask it a really, really simple question, right? I don't know how to use open metadata. So maybe I'm just curious, like, what like tables do I have in this specific service in my PostgreSQL database? So this is taking a while. So while that happens, I'll open up the recipe as well, just to save us some time. I don't want to take up all the time. So I have an open metadata recipe as well. And this will also take a little bit of time to load, but hopefully we'll see a little bit of here we go. Let's go ahead and just run this. And what should happen is I'm able to speak in natural language without like writing a query or knowing how to navigate Open Metadata's UI. So it's going to go ahead and find those tables for me. And since this is taking a little bit, we can go ahead and see the contents of the recipe here. Goose always likes to embarrass me when I'm doing a demo. Like when I'm not doing a demo, it's fast. But basically, here we've given it a system prompt instruction that says utilize open metadata tools to search for, retrieve, and modify the metadata related to data assets such as tables, dashboards, and glossaries. Adhere to specific output formats like JSON for search queries, and maintain structure responses for Markdown. Using Markdown for human readable information. And then it's going to send this initial prompt for me that says like take classifications from, and this would be like the table or the database, and apply them to all tables which are listed in that particular entity. And basically I'm going to use this to either like add a tag or a certification or an owner to one of the tables. So I'm going to go ahead and press save and run recipe because that's going to take a oh no, I already did that earlier. Perfect, actually. So on this left side where we asked what tables do we have, it did what it needed to do. It found the tables for me. I have a customers table, an orders table, a payments table. This could be really useful if maybe you're working with different teammates, you want them to get insight to your database, and maybe they just don't have that knowledge of like how to navigate things, and you want to basically make your database accessible and make the work be able to be spread out across the entire team. So I'm going to go ahead and press start recipe for this. It's asking me for like what table what am I looking for, because we had that parameter of FQN. So I'm going to press start recipe, and it already has the prompt filled in for me. So I'll press send and it should do its thing. It should be able to get some entity details for me. Perfect. It told me I have specific tags here. But let's say I just want to add another tag. So I'm going to say I want to add the like and add a confidential tag to all three tables. And this is actually helpful for me because yesterday is the first time that I tried out the Open Metadata MCP server and I was like trying to navigate the UI. I wonder if I could pull it up for you guys. And I was trying to just manually add the tags myself. And I'm like, I'm really struggling here. Like, I don't know, just because I don't know how to use it. And I'm also not somebody that reads documentation enough. So let's see that it gets added, and then that should be close to the end of my talk and demo. Hope I'm not taking too long. So right now I have sensitive. That's one of them that I added. Uh, let's see. Did it just add the sensitive one again? Let me see if I can just add a random one. Can you add a tag that's named random? Let's see. So we can actually see it in action because sensitive was already there. Okay. Can you create the tag? If not, I think you guys get the idea. Cool. And this is my ignorance, but as I can see, I'm learning like, okay, cool. It must like belong to a specific tag category, et cetera, et cetera. So it's having trouble, whatever. But earlier it did add this sensitive tag for me. As you can see, I have no clue how to add any tag. So it did actually do it. All right, going back to the slides. Um, let's see. Where's my slides at? So we saw how the recipe is basically useful because I didn't have to write out that entire prompt. As you can see, I was kind of fumbling. So I don't even know how I would have written out that prompt or have that information. So someone on my team could have just shared me the recipe through a deep link or a YAML file, and I could be like, oh, great, I'll just run this myself and figure out how to do things. So basically, just to end, now that your AI has like power and context, basically you still need to be able to stay in control, and the whole value of software engineering isn't just writing syntax, it's solving problems thoughtfully for now and in the future, and the impact that it'll have on users and your systems. So one thing I really like is that Goose supports something called ACP, or agent client protocol. And it allows you to, instead of like context switching between your AI chat and your code, you can stay right where you want to be, right in your editor. So basically, this allows you to have like a little native Goose natively built into your editor without having an extension. So now I'm able to think more critically about my code that the AI agent is generating. I can ask things like, does this solve an actual problem? Is this scalable? Are there security implications? And does this fit within our existing architecture? That's really it for me. I just want to say like vibe coding is not really going anywhere. And the question is just how to use it more responsibly. That's it. Thank you. And sorry about the little issue with metadata. Oh.
It's all good. It's wonderful to hear that we have a new open metadata user as of yesterday, and then just turning around and giving that is wonderful. And yeah, being able to apply those tags really easily with our MCP server is great. Um, so I just pasted in our chat a link to a blog where we were talking about that goose recipe. I know there's a lot of people on the call here that are looking to contribute to open source and always looking to get into new projects. I think through those goose recipes, as you're prompting agents to work with tools in a way that you think would be usable to other people, I think goose recipes are a really good way to get you like collaborate with others on your work and contribute to open source, right? Goose has a great place to like package your prompt history as a recipe, and you can just package it. And I love what you mentioned, Rizel, about like chiseling down the AI. So package it and then edit it, like actually go through it. Don't just package it and then rip a PR straight to Goose. Like look through it, maybe read through it one time at least, but then it's a really great way to be able to contribute to their project and add recipes there. So thanks for demonstrating that, Rizel. Thanks for using open metadata. That was great to see as well. So wanted to talk more about open metadata.